Welcome to English Corner. Hello, my dear students. How are you? Hope you're okay, hale and hearty. In this global pandemic situation, you are at home. We are also at home. We are happy also, and we are safe and sound. Today, according to our schedule, I'm going to start a class for the second year students. Today's class has been designed for the students of second year, that is, examinees 2021. This is Mohammad Gofran here, Assistant Professor in English, Chattogram Engineering University School and College section, Stuart Raujan. Today's topic is connectors. This class has been designed for the students of class 12. Dear students, today we are going to learn the usage of some of the common connectors and linkers. Why do you need to learn them? They join ideas and show how those ideas are related to one another. They help us organize our ideas. It's easier for the reader to follow. So the necessity of connectors we have mentioned here. These connectors join ideas and show how those ideas are related to one another. Secondly, they help us organize our ideas, our opinions, our views, and it is easier for the readers to follow them. Now, see the picture here. They are related to one another, how they relate to each other. But, what is this? To join sentences that have different or opposite meanings. It's a connector. Example, Shamir ran very fast. He did not win the race. Shamir ran very fast, but he did not win the race. Here, but has been used as a connector. I can play football, I cannot play cricket. I can play football, but I cannot play cricket. So, but has been used here as a connector to show contrasting ideas. First, last, next, after that, finally, etc. These are the connectors. So read the following sentence, then you can easily understand the uses of these connectors. How to bake delicious cake. First of all, you have to read the recipe. Next, you have to buy the ingredients. Then you should preheat the oven. While the oven is preheating, mix the ingredients together and put them in a pan. After that, let the cake bake for 20 minutes. Finally, take the cake out of the oven and ice it. Look at the words in color. We can use different connectors in these places. Now, we shall change these words, these characters, but the meaning will be the same. Look at the words, the color. To begin with, at the place of first, you can use also to begin with. You have to read the recipe. Secondly, you have to buy the ingredients. Next, you should preheat the oven. While the oven is preheating, mix the ingredients together and put them in a pan. Then, finally, that is after that you can say then, let the cake bake for 20 minutes. Lastly, that is finally, take the cake out of the oven and ice it. So at the place of first we have used here to begin with, and last I have used secondly, next you have used next, after that you have used while, and then finally you have used lastly. So you can use to begin, next, secondly, next, while, then, lastly in place of first, last, next, after that, finally, etc. Now see, however, even though, despite, therefore. Life in London is challenging. life in London can be really exciting. How can you link these sentences? See, despite the fact that life in London is challenging, it can be really exciting. Or you can say, even though life in London is challenging, it can be really exciting. Or you can write in this way, life in London is challenging, however, it can be very exciting. Finally, you can write, life in London is challenging, therefore, it can be very exciting. So you see, one sentence has been written into 4 types, changed into 4 types using different connectors. Now see, despite the fact that life in London challenging, it can be really exciting. Now, how can you link these sentences? Example, we went to a party. The music was not good. I decided to stay anyhow. Anyway, I met my friends. We had a great time. How can you link the above connectors, above sentences with connectors? See, I went to a party, but the music was not good. I decided to stay anyway because I met my friends and we had a great time. So here you see, we have changed the we have used the sentence connectors to link ideas, opinions, and views of a person. I went to a party, and you have used a connector here, but, and then because, and finally have used and. So but, because, and, these are the connectors through which we have linked the sentences here. Can you find a different way to link these sentences? See, this is what we did. Here you see, I went to a party, but the music was not good. I decided to stay anyway because I met my friends and we had a great time. We rewrite them, if you want, like this. We went to a party. Even though the music was not good, I decided to stay. So in place of but, you can use even though. I decided to stay anyway because I met my friends. In the place of because, you can use here eventually. Eventually, we had a great time. Because I met my friends and we had a great time. You can read this way. In spite of, despite, and although. In spite of, despite, and although are all used to show contrast and are used for the same meaning. The only difference is the way they are used, the structure in which they are used. See, in spite of and despite are placed in front of a noun or pronoun. See, we had a great time in spite of the rain. We had a great time despite the rain. Despite studying very hard, we still didn't pass the exam. Studying is the noun form of the verb study. So, in spite of, despite are placed in front of a noun or pronoun. Here, studying is the noun, form of the verb study. So here, we have seen the position of despite and in spite of. Despite doesn't have of after it. You cannot write despite of. You can write in spite of, not despite of. Despite the rough weather, the still set sail, not despite of. Not despite of the bad weather. You have to write despite the bad weather. Although is used in front of a subject and a verb. We had a great time although it rained. Or you can say, although he studied very hard, he still didn't pass the exam. If, in spite of and despite are used in front of the phrase, the fact that, then they cannot be used with a subject and a verb. For example, in spite of the fact that he studied very hard, he still didn't pass the exam. Despite the fact that it rained, we still had a great time. Even though can be used the same way as although. For most native speakers, even though is slightly stronger than although. Even though we are in a terrible hotel, we had a great time. Now see further connectors of addition. Whenever we want to add some ideas, opinions, views, then we can use additionally, furthermore, in addition to, in addition, moreover, similarly, likewise, in the same way, besides, not only but also. These are the connectors for addition. So now see the example. Additionally, furthermore, in addition, moreover, similarly, likewise, in the same way, because, besides, not only but also. Say, learning English is important. It is a useful language. It is the international language. You can get a good job. You can travel around the world. You can communicate with people all over the world. Where can you add connectors? Now see, learning English is important and it is useful language. Besides, it is the international language. Moreover, you can get a good job. In addition to traveling around the world, you can communicate with people all over the world. So you see, we have used the connectors to connect the sentences and ideas, and we have made the sentences easier for understanding to the readers. So these are the usages of some connectors through which we add sentences to clear the ideas, views and opinions of the speaker. Additionally, furthermore, in addition to, moreover, similarly, likewise, in the same way, besides, not only but also. Now connectors of contrast. When we make contrast, then we use these connectors. However, nevertheless, although, though, even though, in spite of, despite, in contrast to, on the other hand, whereas or while, on the contrary. These connectors are used for contrasting ideas, contrasting things, contrasting materials, etc. Here the example. Read the following paragraph using at least 5 connectors. Recycling is something that is fairly easy to do. Small plastic bottles and glass bottles can be collected. They can be brought to the supermarket. You can get a refund. For bigger plastic bottles, there are places where you can dispose of the bottles. Paper can be recycled. Newspapers can be collected. You can throw them in special containers. Newspapers are recycled and used to make new paper. You can use both sides of the page while writing. You should try to use plastic bags to a minimum. You can bring your own bags. This will save on using plastic bags. Recycling is really easy. It is a matter of habit. Now we shall rewrite the following paragraph using at least 5 connectors. See. Possible answer may be like this. This is not the fixed answer. Fixed solution. Possible. Recycling is something that is fairly easy to do. First of all, small plastic bottles and glass bottles can be collected. For example, They can be brought to the supermarket in order to get a refund. For bigger plastic bottles, there are places where you can dispose of the bottles. Secondly, paper can be recycled. Newspapers can be collected and thrown in special containers. Then, newspapers are recycled and used to make new paper. In addition, you can use both sides of the page while writing. Finally, you should try to use plastic bags to a minimum. For instance, you can bring your own bags. As a result, you will save on using plastic bags. To sum up, recycling is really easy. It is a matter of habit. So you have used some connectors. You can use further connectors also. It doesn't mean that you have to use these. I have already shown earlier. You can use alternative connectors which may clear the meaning, which may well connect the sentences. Thank you all. Goodbye. Thank you very much. See you again. Allah Hafiz.